Illmind, welcome to Mint, my friend. How are you doing? Thank you for being on.
My G, Adam, appreciate you, dog. It's an honor to be here, man. You already know.
Dude, I'm excited to have you on. You've been pretty loud in the NFT space for quite some time, talking on the music side of things, on the general NFT side of things. So, genuinely a pleasure to have you on. Let's dive right in, okay? For those who don't know you, okay, which I find hard to believe, but for those who don't know you, how do you introduce yourself? But more specifically, tell me about your journey into crypto.
Cool, yeah. Well, first of all, it's an honor to be here always. Man, how do I describe myself? I'm just a kid from New Jersey who's curious about a lot of things. First thing I was curious about was music, and took matters into my own hands and like dove right into the art of music production. Was inspired by guys like Jay Dilla and Pete Rock and Dr. Dre and Timbaland and Neptunes, and went from took that curiosity and started in mom's basement. And almost 20 years later, I'm thankfully still around and doing what I love. And it's a new adventure every day. And I got into crypto. Um, you know what? I want to say my entry point into this whole thing was probably October of 2020. So a good friend of mine, Jan Silva, who is an amazing artist, amazing photographer, he actually told me about NFTs back in October of 2020, and around that time, I was kind of like looking for a way to just something different to do, uh, in terms of like the little side businesses that I was running. So like selling drum kits. I have a very long standing history um, of interacting with like digital media and selling digital goods, sound packs, stuff like that. And so when I heard about blockchain technology and a way to authenticate digital files, I was like immediately blown away and intrigued. So that was kind of like my first introduction to NFTs. But I didn't really start getting fully into it until around January of 2021. And that was when, shit really got real for me. And I think for the rest of the world, I kind of, uh, it changed everything, right? And when you combine that with the pandemic and everything that was going on, it was an eye opener. So that was my kind of entry point. And since then, I've been doing a lot of homework and studying and
Nice.
getting into discords and interacting with different people in the community and learning a bunch. And I'm still learning, right? To this day, I'm still I still consider myself very fresh and very new to the space. But we're here now. So
We're here now. Can you walk me through your first few drops that you actually issued and like what you learned from doing them? Because I remember in the beginning, I was doing some research on you. You focused a lot, like you said, on the beat side of things and the music side of things for your first few drops. Walk me through that. How did those come to life? What were some of the takeaways, lessons learned, and whatnot?
sure. So I'll take you to the beginning of like what it is and then what we did. So back in 2011, I don't know a lot. I don't know if you guys know this.
Damn, that's like
2011, 10 years ago, right? I released my first sound pack, right? And if you don't know what a sound pack is basically a zip file containing different types of audio sounds that are original. Snare drum sounds, kick drums, hi hats, drum loops, melodies, original melody loops, stuff like that. And they're basically tools for music creators, music producers. And back in 2011, this wasn't a thing at all. Like if you wanted to purchase sounds, you had to go to Guitar Center, or very, very few online retailers sold actual, sounds. And it wasn't really there wasn't really a market for it yet. So 2011, I told myself, I'm like, I wonder if there is a market for me to sell my own original drum sounds and melody loops that I created from scratch. And I'm wondering if there's other music producers out there that would want to use them. And so I did that in 2011, on my blog site, and it ended up blowing up. And then from there, I migrated to a Shopify account and created a Shopify, and it turned into a whole thing. 10 years later, it's become a multi-million-dollar a year business. It's grown to about a $10 billion a year market cap globally, which is huge for my industry. And so in 2019, early 2020, I think it was January of 2020, I decided to release a sound pack on eBay, right? So I told myself, I'm like, instead of selling these sound packs individually for like $20, $30 each and sell, an unlimited amount of them, what if I sold a one of one, right? And so I was like, I'm going to create a one of one sound pack and sell it on eBay. And this was the beginning of January, or the beginning of 2020. So I did it and ended up selling for like $12,000 on eBay for one sound pack, right? So exclusive one of one, kind of similar to like the Wu-Tang album, the one of one Wu-Tang album type thing, but it was a sound pack. And so that was unheard of at the time. So I did that. And then October hits, like I said, 2020 October hits. I hear about NFTs. Jan Silva puts the battery in my back, and I'm like, dude, this is crazy. We might be able to do an NFT sound pack. So I think it was February of 2021, if I'm not mistaken. February 2021, I released a one of one NFT sound pack, which is the first of its kind. No one's ever done that before. I did that in January of 2021 on Mintable, right? And I did it, and it sold for 4.5 Ethereum. And back then it was 4.5. I think was like $8,000 or something like that.
And that was for one buyer, right? Because it was a
one
of one.
That was for one. And mind you, these are going for $20, $30,
right,
in the market. So I sold a one of one for, I don't know what that is. 8,000x or 4,000x.
Yeah, crazy,
right? So that kind of created like a bit of a shockwave, and it definitely woke me up to how powerful NFTs could truly be, if you associate them with like the right utility. And here's a little fun fact. So the person, I don't want to put them on the spot. The person who purchased the sound pack NFT for $8,000, 4.5 Ethereum, they actually recently used one of the sounds in that sound pack and got a placement on Migos' album, and they've since 20x their investment.
Wow. And were you able to recoup any of that from there, or was it an exclusive outright buy?
Exclusive,
one of one.
Exclusive 100% ownership. And so from there, I told myself, I'm like, that's at least to me, that's what makes the most sense with NFTs is, and this is not taking anything away from other types of utilities and use cases. Sometimes an NFT is meant to be a work of art. But for the NFTs that aren't meant to be a work of art, you got to ask yourself, what kind of value am I giving to the person? Like, is this something that they're going to make money off of later, or hang up in their living room, or actually use for something and maybe make money from it in another way? And so I love the idea of giving intellectual property to the person that invests or purchases the NFT. And that's exactly what I did with the sound pack. And I'm super happy that, the person that bought it has since like gone on and done some cool things with it. So that's the part of the NFTs that I really love.
Got it. Can you walk me through like your journey of understanding like IP on chain? Because when you sell something outright, something that's traditionally done through paperwork and a ton of middlemen, right, to kind of make a sale online, you actually just did that in one transaction, right? So was there something in like the unlockable content that was able to provide like a legal contract to sign to make it official off chain, or how did you kind of walk through those problems?
Yeah, so I think that we're kind of still in real time figuring that out. I don't know if there's like a foolproof method on deploying that, but from the one of one pack that I released a year ago, what we did was I had my attorney write up an exclusive contract that pretty much grants full usage forever to the person to use all of that IP that they purchased in the pack. So that's one way of doing it, is an actual just like Web2, contract that comes with it. But in terms of having that actual, information in the smart contract. I think that would be probably the next step. Is if I were to do this again, it would be the contract, but in the smart contract, so that whoever owns that piece has those rights. But again, it's still very new.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
and that's what my instinct tells me. But I think
Yeah.
that's something that we need to figure out collectively.
It's really cool. Like the evolution of the marketplace, you started selling that one of one on eBay, which is something like when you look back and you try to use eBay today, you basically use it for like physical items, right? And it
Yeah.
and it makes you think like how early the concept of NFTs were without the buzzword of NFTs, right? And now come to today, now you're releasing your own sample packs on chain that like have exponential more value than if they were off chain, right? And you're doing it in a very curated one of one way to keep it super legit, super scarce, which outright has its own value within itself, right? Setting up that dynamic. So that,
Exactly. Yeah.
yeah, keep going, keep going. You were gonna say something?
I was gonna say, it's a little bit different from like, an artist selling an MP3, right? Which is also, I think, something we want to talk about today. But if I'm a rapper and I have a song, and there's a million things I can do to turn that into an NFT.
Right.
But essentially, my NFTs, my Soundpack NFTs, are like, I'm selling the shovels. I'm selling the shovels to the people, right? For them to use. All right, I'm selling tools to create music. So it's a little bit of like there's like an additional like layer underneath that, which is what I think makes some of my stuff a little more unique, because it's very much
Yeah.
for a type of person. But all of it excites me, man. Anything
Yeah.
that has to do with like music and chains and NFTs, like I'm super fascinated by. Yeah.
What's interesting? For the last few days, I was learning more about like how the producer industry works from like a grain of salt point of view,
Mhm.
and you see like up and coming producers uploading loop sample packs, beats, whatever on Dropbox, right? And sending like files to people in their inbox, and basically defining the terms of the usage of the file in the text file itself within the email. And it makes you think actually how outdated and how old a 2022 music industry actually works with the advance of technology that we have today. And it makes me think like, could NFTs actually be the new standard for ownership for beats, loops, samples, etc.? And what does that look like on like when you scale that process, right? How do you actually eliminate people sending copies of files to one another, more so sending the NFT as the actual example of what they want to integrate into a song or sell to a producer or whatnot? Do you have any thoughts around that?
Yeah, I mean, the whole thing is so interesting, man. Like it, I feel like on one hand, it's a golden opportunity for us to potentially, create a brand new way of doing things, which I think is at this point much needed. But then on the other hand, you have to be realistic about the idea that there's a system in place in music business that's obviously skewed to benefit one party and one type of person, and that needs to either be completely changed or it needs to be completely obliterated, and replaced. And that's a really uh um tough battle. That's a very,
Yeah.
very bold adventure to go on. But I'm all for it. Like I'm with the smoke, right? Like I'm with the smoke. But um that in my opinion, that's what needs to happen, because when you think about performing rights organizations, right? PROs, ASCAP, BMI, CSAC, that's just America alone. You're not even
Right.
talking Canada, Europe, Asia. So you're talking about all the PROs have to be on board with this. All the major labels have to be on board with this. All Harry Fox agency and all the royalty collection agencies have to be on board with basically saying, all right, cool, we've been making billions and billions of dollars every year, but let's just switch everything up and go with the Web3 route, because the artists are fighting for it and it'll help them, and it's just the right thing to do. Like, that's
No.
not going to happen, guys.
Yeah.
That's not going to happen. Like, you have streaming services like Spotify, like they're not going to bow out. They're not going to just say, "Well, okay, cool. Well, I guess we're Web 2 and the Web 3 community, they got us. We're done." That's not going to happen. Right? That's not going to happen, guys. Like, and trust me, as much as I want that to happen, I do. as a producer, as a songwriter, like, of course I want that to happen, but we have to be realistic. Like, there's so many innovative, forward-thinking people that are creating amazing technology in Web3, but we have to really be mindful of exactly what we're up against. It's either we have to work with them or we have to completely obliterate them. And so it's your choice, right? Like, it's going to be interesting to see what happens.
What is interesting? You see startups actually saying the new payment rails, the new system needs to be completely on chain. And there's some that believe the thesis that there needs to be like a collaboration and build rails between Web 2 and Web 3, right? There needs to be a way to work with Spotify, bring streaming data on chain, make royalty payments via USDC or whatever that then get airdropped to all the contributors and their wallets associately through splits. And it's very hard to tell which one would actually win and which one will actually work. From your point of view, is the way to completely go Web3 and build an entirely new streaming platform, distributor, publishing platform, royalty, everything, like the entire operation? Is it better to just redo that or work with Web2 and build rails from Web2 to Web3?
I think that the better way, like if it was like our choice, like if we had the Infinity Stones and we can snap our finger and make it happen, I would program my Infinity Stones to completely get rid of all the streaming services and create a brand new Web3 thing.
Mm.
Like the entire industry needs to be replaced. I'll be honest. Like, and I'm, this is me like trying to be, sensitive because I know a lot of really good people that work for obviously for labels, and these are good people. But we're all doing a job that we were assigned to do, right? Like, you can't blame the good people that work at Spotify for what's happening. You can't blame all of them. So this is no direction to any one of them. But at the end of the day, if we're keeping it really transparent, we need a brand new system, guys. Like, we need a complete overhaul. Like, we need to replace the idea that like music producers typically get 4 points per song per album on royalty. You know what 4-point royalty is? I mean, for every 100 million streams, I'm making $4,000.
Jeez.
Like,
Jesus.
that makes no sense. Like, we need to redo the numbers. We need to redo the process of how songwriters, producers, artists get paid. We need to redo how publishing works. I mean, there's a lot of amazing people that work in publishing that are creating new systems. Like, MDRC deals are no longer really a thing. You have term deals now. You have co-pub deals. You have admin deals. Those are all really great.
Mhm.
And they're working for a lot of people. But to be honest, we need some new energy. We need an overhaul. And if we want Web3 to be the thing, like you said, I think having a railroad, like a railway, to kind of bridge the two together and maybe segue into some different partnerships that might make everything work and have it all kind of coexist. That's probably the most realistic way to go. And it could work that way, but again, I think only time will tell. And again, that's going to take time. It's going to take
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. You know what's interesting? All these streaming platforms were very much intended to benefit the record label and their large catalog of work, right? And I think we can all agree, like the revenue models and the royalty models behind Apple Music, Pandora, Spotify, etc., don't really value music the way it's supposed to be properly valued. And hence why we're seeing like this entire new wave of music NFTs where you have platforms like Catalog, Sound.xyz, Mint Songs, etc., treating music as a collectible, as if you were to collect a fine piece of art, right? And it's
Mhm.
interesting because like back in the day, you would collect vinyls, right? Sure, they had utility of playing them, but these were physical objects that people enjoyed collecting. We're seeing that same mindset be applied in the digital realm as well. But one thing that I find super interesting behind beats, loops, sample packs is that these assets, these on-chain assets, actually have genuine utility. They're the molecule, the atomic unit of a song, right? And being able to actually purchase these things, then create utility and make a song from them, actually introduces a whole new layer in like building blocks. And now I start thinking about DeFi and how this entire kind of ecosystem kind of bridges in to one another. So seeing what you've done so far and producing and creating genuine value from a producer's point of view and what you want to sell a sample pack for, not necessarily plugging into, let's say, Splice or BeatStars, et cetera, and letting them define whatever it is that that art is worth on their platform is just interesting to see. And I guess from like your point of view, okay, why do beats, loops, sample packs actually need to be on chain? Like, what is the problem that that's solving? I know you touched upon it a little bit earlier, but just to give more clarity to the audience that doesn't really have true familiarity behind it,
Yep.
what was like the aha moment for you? Was it the provenance? Was it the ownership layer? Was it the royalties on chain? Like, walk me through more of your mental model behind that.
So the number one issue it solves is ownership, right? And so think of it this way. Think of it like you said, Legos, right? So let's say these sound packs are Legos. And let's say, for instance, I have a Lego set and I want to sell it, right? And so let's say I place this Lego set in Toys R Us. There's, 50,000 units that are shipped that are expected to sell in all these different platforms. And after a couple months, all 50,000 of those Lego sets are sold, right? And it's the same Lego set. So you have 50,000 different people that have this Lego set. Now, let's say they put the Lego together and they create what was intended to create, right, from this Lego set. And now they want to resell that Lego set to other people. Well, it's going to be difficult to do that because you have, 49,999 other people that have the same exact Lego set. And if you sell your Lego set, you're not selling, you don't have that ownership to sell that Lego set because there's, tens of thousands of other people that have the same one. And you really have no way of proving that you own it, right? You just have a receipt that you purchased it. So that's sort of how I look at these sound packs. Is it's a way to transfer true one-on-one ownership to use this one Lego set for this one purpose, for this one person, right? And so it just kind of solves all those issues of like usage, what you're able to use and create with that sound pack. And it gives that person that freedom to be able to take advantage of using that sound pack the way it was meant to be used. So that's number one problem it solves. And this is, guys, by the way, this is a huge problem in our industry. You have, even me personally, I've run into cases where I'll, one producer will use one of my sound packs, and then there's another music producer that uses the same sound pack. And now Drake has a song with one piano, but then Travis Scott just recorded to the same piano. And now who gets to release what? Who owns it? Now I'm in the middle and I'm like, who do I give this piano pack to? Do I give it to Drake or do I give it to Travis? Because they want to release it as a song. And they can't both release it because it's basically the same thing. So, it's a big problem. It happens all the time. And I felt as though the sample pack NFT was one way of potentially solving that problem. Yeah.
So do you imagine Drake or these other artists that are kind of like fighting quote unquote over the same sample pack? Do you imagine them going onto a platform and buying that? And underneath the hood, there's like some verifiable standard like an NFT that would prove outright because X person bought it and it's in their wallet and they outright fully own it. Is that how you imagine the process kind of coming into play?
I do. Okay, I'll give you an example.
Yeah.
And this has happened.
Okay.
My one of my good friends, music producer, Boy Wonder, one of the best to do it. I don't know if you guys are familiar, but Boy Wonder has produced all of Drake's hits. Let's say he calls me, he goes, "Hey, llmind, I'm in the studio with Drake. Send me some sound packs." Right? What I can do is airdrop him sound packs with the smart contract already on the thing. And be like, all right, use those. You're the only one that has them because I just airdropped them to you. Simple. And then the usage, the smart contract, the contract is in the smart contract in the airdrop. So
right. Yeah.
But
then once they get it though, okay, let's say once they get it in their wallet and they actually use it, how do you actually track payment? How do you actually like integrate the licensing and the splits and the points, everything else that you kind of talked about that make up your contribution of the song? That stuff still happens off chain, right?
It does.
How can we bring that process on chain?
Well, I think
Does it need to be on chain?
I think it does. I think it speeds the process. I think it's a very different way of doing things as opposed to traditional contracts. I mean, you have to keep in mind, like every transaction in the music industry is still lawyer, redlining, contracts going to, the printer to like print out the contract for 50 pages and physically redlining stuff with a highlighter.
Hmm.
Like that's still happening, right? And so I think you still have the challenge of lawyers having to negotiate. And I think there's no real, at least to my knowledge, there's no like Web3 solution to solve that issue. So it's still going to take a while. Like it's not going to just be this like quick all right, like we're in the smart contract, like one push of a button and we're all good. Like no,
Yeah.
we still have to figure out like how many royalties do I get? How many royalties does Boy Wonder get? Did
Yeah.
we hire an additional musician, which that person also gets, royalties on this, or publishing? What kind of publishing agency am I signed to? What are you signed to? So it's still, like I said, and it proves the idea of having to redo the whole system, right? Like we still have to figure out the publishing, the writing, the royalty. So if we redo, we need to redo it's almost like, do we renovate the house or because it has like good bones, or do we fucking destroy the house and start from scratch? And we have to destroy the house and start from scratch.
I agree with you with that because there's too many incentives in the house that already exists, right? And like, let's be real, like people feed their families with the model that it currently exists, right? There's no need to generally fix something that isn't broken for the people who are running it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But what's interesting about Web3 is like artists, creators, creative entrepreneurs are realizing the potential behind these Web3 primitives, these crypto primitives, to actually be able to build, to monetize and own their audience without needing to basically rely on these big middlemen that kind of run the day to day of how things work today. So, part of recording season 4 and making it all about the music industry is kind of dive into what does the current process look like and how does crypto change that. And one thing we haven't really touched upon yet, which I'd love to hear your point of view, is who doesn't want Web3 to work in the music industry? Like, who does it work against?
I think it works against people that are making a shitload of money right
Okay.
now. People that are making a lot of money from the system that's in place right now, and those people not wanting things to change too much, right? I think if a Web3 opportunity presents itself to an executive that's making $1.5 billion a year, and you tell that executive, hey, check out this Web3 system where you can make $3 million a year, you can double your salary. I think that person will be open-minded
Yeah.
to hearing that person out. But until that day happens, I think there's too many people that are in too much control, that control many things. They're not bad people. They're just in control and they're
Yeah.
making money and they're comfortable and it's just what it is. And until there's a solution where everyone is happy, it's either, we create something where we can coexist, or we try to revolutionize something. And that's just the rock and the hard place that we're all in.
Yeah. Makes a lot of sense. What's up, guys? Adam Levy here. Sorry for the quick pause. I wanted to give some love to our 2 NFT sponsors that are making this episode a reality. They are Coinvise and Polygon Studios. On Coinvise, you can create a personal or community-owned social token on Ethereum or Polygon. Coinvise also helps you create incentives through token rewards and bounties, NFT business models, and bot integrations for Discord. Discover more today by visiting coinvise.co. Polygon Studios is the gaming and NFT arm of Polygon, who's focused on growing the blockchain gaming and NFT industry while bridging the gap between Web 2 and Web 3 gaming. The Polygon Studios ecosystem comprises highly loved blockchain games like OpenSea, Upshot, Avagachi, Zedrun, Skyweaver, Decentraland, and Decentral Games. If you're a gamer, builder, or NFT creator looking to join the Polygon Studios ecosystem, get started today by visiting polygonstudios.com. All right, back to the episode. So part of revolutionizing things, okay, here comes Squad of Knights. Okay, I want to talk more about that. A revolution within itself, led by a revolutionary. Okay. Walk me through more of like your thought process behind starting Squad of Knights. What are you actually trying to do with Squad of Knights? Right now, all I see is a landing page. I see
Yeah.
records on the back. I see horses. Like, it's sick. But walk me through like what can we expect? What are you trying to do? Give me the whole shebang.
Cool. So this is an exclusive. So by the time this goes live, all the info will be out there. So I'm
All
really gonna
right.
go with you. Like this is literally first time. Okay.
Let's go.
Excuse me. So back in April of last year, I immediately, that was when I got into Bored Apes, and I started collecting PFPs, and did pretty well, honestly. I sold my ape a while ago, took profits, but
Weekends.
obviously should have waited. Yeah, I know, man. Paper llmind. But so back in April, I was like super fascinated with like the PFP idea, and I never wanted to jump into it just to do it. And I'm very, very humbled and blessed that I'm able to like have continue to make a living off of what I do. So it was never a money play for me. All of this stuff is strictly excitement and wow, new technology. What can I do to contribute? So I was thinking to myself, I'm like, what kind of project can I create that actually contributes to the community, but also, again, just like the NFT, the Soundpack NFT did, something that solves an issue that I have experienced myself, along with other people that are sort of in my similar situation, right, as a creator. And so, after many, many, many iterations and changes and evolutions, back in October, we landed on an actual use case for a really good project that I want to release. And so here we are. It's called Squad of Knights, and it's 8,888 programmic. How do you say that word?
Programmable. Yeah.
Programmable generated um, NFTs
Okay.
that are basically pixel style, and they're chess knights, right? So the reason behind the chess knights is because I'm a huge chess fan. I'm
Okay.
not going to sit here and say, "Oh, I'm the best." I'm pretty good, right? But I just love the game of chess, and the knight is one of my favorite pieces. And so I wanted to go with the knight. I've always wanted to do something with the chess piece knight, and so it just like felt good. And I'm a retro guy, like I love Sega Genesis, so like pixel all day. Like I'm
Yeah.
like a pixel head. So they're randomly generated. And so the whole idea behind this NFT project is, and I really want to apologize ahead of time for saying this because it's like such a buzzword right now, but it like really is about community, right? And so I'll tell you why. So back in 2011, when I released my drum kit, that was the beginning of what I didn't anticipate to be a series of just like different things that I would do in my career that would just like bring people together, right? So like I sort of became really fascinated with utilizing my influence and my voice to bring creative people together. So it started with like my podcast, 2012, which was a music producer podcast. It was the first music production podcast to ever exist, to my knowledge. That was before people even knew what a podcast was, right? 2012. So we released that. It was called Blap on the Radio. And then I used to do these like live producer events where I would rent out like a club or like a studio space, and then a bunch of producers would come, plug in their laptop, and play beats basically. So instead of a DJ, you would have a set of like 5 to 10 producers that would just play original beats all night, and then you had people networking like at the bar, getting to know each other,
Sick.
dancing. Yeah, so it was like this really cool community event. I did these at this venue called Katra in New York City, and we used to do those once a month. So we started doing that in like 2011, 2012. And then in 2015, I started doing these events every month called Pass the Aux, where I would go to a different city every month, and I would rent a very like intimate recording studio space, and I would sell tickets, and I would invite 20 music creators to come through, network, each person would be able to play their music, like plug the aux in, hence why it's called Pass the
Sick.
Aux.
Yeah.
Each person would plug their aux in, they would play their music. I would give them constructive criticism. It'd be rappers, singers, music producers, and we would all just get to know each other. And I did those once a month, and I did those from 2015 all the way up until 2020, right before pandemic.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So once pandemic hit, we started doing them virtually. I ended up building a metaverse, partnering with a platform called Spatial.io. I built a metaverse studio where we can do some networking and get to know each other and do networking. And so I hosted a few of those events in my metaverse last year and sold NFT tickets for those. And we did 2 of those, and those were really amazing. And so I say all that to say that a lot of what I've been doing for the past 10 years has been all about bringing people together. And that's exactly what the Squad of Nights NFT project is. So if you're a Squad of Night holder, it's basically this idea of being able to meet your peers and being able to collaborate with your peers and getting rewarded for doing that, right? And so the whole idea is this: you purchase a Squad of Night NFT, and then from there you get into the Discord and you get to meet other musicians and other people, creative people, basically. So you get in, and you basically, the first thing that happens is you choose a role, right? So we have 6 different roles, right? So if you're a rapper, you choose your role as a squad of voice, right? Or Knights of Voice. And then we have a Knights of Rhythm role, where
sick.
Knights of Rhythm role is basically drum programmers, right? Beat makers. And then you have Knights of Melody role, where you're either a musician, you play guitar, or you like to make sample loops, sound packs. You're Knights of Rhythm or Knights of Melody. And then you have Knights of Audio, which are audio engineers, right? And so those are the people that are mixing the actual songs, engineering the actual songs, stuff like that. And then you have Knights of Vision, which is basically graphic designers, audio, or visual artists.
Mm-hmm.
Want to make album covers, stuff like that. Those are the Knights of Vision. And then you have Ambassador Knights, which are aspiring A&Rs, aspiring executive, aspiring music industry executives, people that are just like forward thinking in the industry. Those are Ambassador Knights. And so you take all these different categories, and what happens when you put them together? Well, you have beat makers that are, creating music with rappers. You have rappers that can now find producers to work with. You have singers that can collaborate with producers and musicians. And when you put all these different people together, you can create some really amazing, fresh energy, new music, and create some new IP. And so what Squad of Nights does is it solves the problem of finding people to collaborate with.
Yeah.
And very much as I do how difficult it is to find people to collaborate with. I mean, social media is cool, but like you can't just go on Instagram and be like, okay, cool, I need a rapper.
Yeah.
Or if you're a rapper and say, okay, I need music, like you can't. It's still so hard. And you can go to BeatStars, you can go to YouTube, you can get beats that way. But I'm talking about real connection, Adam.
Yeah.
Right? Like I'm talking about, how about like we really get to know each other, and maybe you can be my producer, just like Timbaland and Missy, just like Pharrell and the Neptunes and just like Dr. Dre and Eminem. Like so that requires access, and it requires like real human to human interaction. So being part of the Squad of Nights, not only are we going to do a lot of metaverse related squad building, but we're also going to host a lot of different things like live events where we're doing networking parties, we're hosting parties all across the globe. We're going to offer free studio time for squad members, where they can book studio time and get in the studio with people they've never worked with that are other squad members that they can get to know. And then we have a night token that we're going to distribute for people and reward our members for collaborating, right? So imagine the more you collaborate, the more music you make, the more night tokens you earn, which you can use for studio time, for, you know, a bunch of different
Right.
things we have lined up. So I'm super excited. That's like a super like sloppy, quick explanation
Yeah.
of what it is. But that's the idea behind it. And I didn't want to create an NFT that was about me. Nothing about Squad of Knights is about llmind. It's all about the people. It's all about me and my team utilizing our resources and our knowledge to curate events and to bring people together. And that's literally what it's all about. Like, we want to, like, my idea is to just like spoil every single Squad of Night member for the next 10, 15, 20, 30 years, as long as I do this, because that's just what I've always wanted to do. And the fact that I can now do this with Web3 and do it as an NFT project is like a match made in heaven for me. So I'm like super excited about it.
Exciting. But let's talk about the value for a minute, okay? There's value in curation. There's a lot of value in curation, right? There's musicians, there's producers, rappers, beat makers that exist all over the world, but there's only so many that understand the value of Web3, let alone building and creating in the environment of Web3, which within itself, like finding a group of people that understand that is difficult. It's very difficult, right? I'm personally, I love social clubs. Like, I love buying into projects that give me access to a network of people, of other like-minded people, because at the end of the day, if you strip everything away in life, it's just people, right? It always comes down to people. So what better way than to congregate everybody and like-minded people under a unified theme of music, where you can bring a lot of these talent heads under one roof. So I love that.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
really cool.
Exactly. And you know, in our industry, like if you're a musician or you're a beat maker or a rapper or singer, like you're a very creative person, and creative people are different types of people. Like, we're not just like super outgoing to where like we know like exactly what to do to like meet other people. Like, you know, it's still hard, man. And like I've spoken to, I would say like more than 10,000 at this point in my life, like upcoming music producers, beat makers, rappers. And dude, they tell me the same thing. They're like, I'm not really like, I make music, but like I don't know where to find people to you know, work with. And like I don't want to force people to fuck with me, because like I know I'm good. Like I want to just work with like producers that are willing to help me, right? And so that's where the issue is, and we're still facing that issue today. And I feel as though the Squad of Knights project is, to me, a really, really great starting point, because it, me stepping in, llmind stepping in and creating curated experiences, legitimizes and gives a lot of them the confidence to say, you know what, I am going to go into that studio session, or you know what, I'm gonna go and ape into this NFT project, because I know that llmind and his team has the ability to bring people together and see what happens. Because that's what music is, right? That's my
Yeah.
job as a music producer. I step into the studio, right? If my job is to make a smash record for Adele, let's say, my job as a producer is to not only create the beat, but to also bring people together that makes sense, where we can maximize our chances of creating the best song possible. So I'm going to go and call a horn player. I'm going to call a jazz pianist so we can access different chord progressions that I don't know how to play. I'm going to call my best engineer to come in and track the vocals. So
Yeah.
when Adele is there, she knows she's in good hands, right? So that's my job as a music producer. So Knights of the Squad of Knights project is really that times 8,888, right?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. You know what's interesting? It's a social experiment at this point, because I wonder what could happen when you put all those like-minded people under one roof. What can come out of that, right?
Dude,
From the creative process, the production process, the public, like the recording, the beat making, everything. So it makes me think like actually you're really cultivating an environment here that will be like a hot spot and a hotbed for, I feel
oh,
like, a lot of interesting stuff to come out in the music scene in the future.
and by the way, all the music that's going to be created within the Squad of Knights is all going to be 100% owned by them. Imagine the different types of opportunities that we can explore in Web 3 and also Web 2, but in Web 3, all the music being created, we can partner with, you know, different companies, Mint Songs, Audius, and now we're creating momentum that way in Web 3 using all this music, right? Or imagine a scenario where you have a particular squad that's been making amazing music. Now we're pipelining that up and creating label meetings, right, with executives for distribution. Now all of a sudden they're getting, opportunities and like maybe getting a record deal if they want an old school Web2 record deal, right? Like there's, believe it or not, there's still people that want those. Um, so any type of opportunities that my team and myself can bring to the table for the squad of Knights that's the utility. That's the roadmap. The roadmap is, hey, this is the problem it solves. Hey, you love making music. Join, a community of thousands of other people that are just like you who love making music, that fill in those sort of, puzzle pieces that you're looking for, while also being part of this really cool community, and also get rewarded for collaborating with people and creating music. And from there, it's kind of like sky's the limit, right? Like it's really going to be an exciting time. So I'm really looking forward to it.
That's exciting. I'm curious. A lot of the value out of joining a group like this is obviously it's spearheaded by you, and you're curating a group of like-minded people, bringing them together. What level of access will people have to you as a producer, as from mentorship, from tracks, from samples, etc.? Like how do you imagine, excuse me, cultivating that type of experience around you?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty crazy. Like I kind of see myself partaking a lot. I mean, I kind of already do, like on my Twitch. If any of you watching, watch my Twitch stream. So I typically stream on Twitch every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern. So it's like it's almost like a full-time job making beats. And so I'm there literally making beats. And when I'm on there, I'm literally collaborating with different producers that get to submit their melody loops, their sound packs to me. So on Twitch alone, I'd say I'd probably collaborated with probably 300 to 400 different producers on Twitch in the past 2 years. And I've created definitely well over 1,000 beats
Yeah.
that are all collaborations with other, musicians and producers. So that being said, that's just one example of like how involved I like to be. But in terms of my own involvement, yeah, absolutely. Like,
Yeah.
we have, we're gonna, and this is, I don't want to speak too early, but I am, but I don't give a shit because I'm excited. We're imagine a scenario where, I'm booking a 3-day studio lockout, llmind, inviting, guest producers. I don't want to name names because, I don't want to speak too soon, but
Ooh.
I'm inviting my, famous platinum selling whatever producers that are like genuine people that genuinely want to be there. And you throw us in with our top, squad of night performers, or just whatever the system ends up being for entering that opportunity. And we're going to extend those opportunities for our squad of night holders to come in, create music with us, get constructive criticism. So it's almost like the events that I used to do, but like times 10,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So yeah, to answer your question, I know that's a long answer, but to answer your question, I'm 100% looking forward to being super, super involved with all of this shit, because it's what I do. I'm a
Yeah.
music producer. Like I didn't grind for 20 years to create a project that I don't want to do. Like this is something that I'm looking forward to doing for like the rest of my life. So
What's interesting about your background, Illmind, is like you are a community builder. Like from doing all the meetups that you've done, the podcasts that you've done, you understand the value of bringing people together. And NFTs are just the way to kind of solidify value around that, right? And for everyone to kind of have a collective share in what that can look like in the future. When you're trying to build an online community, it's different than building a physical community, right? It's different than traveling and moving from place to place, promoting a venue to come together. How do you think about community building in crypto around NFTs? And also maybe tackle like what are some of the challenges that you faced starting off trying to build a community online? And what does that look like?
I think I think the two things are very important. They coexist. I think we're still kind of in the trenches figuring it out. But when I think about community building online, which is basically omitting real anything that has to do with real life, I think Discord, I think social media, I think Twitch, I think any type of video communication, Zoom. and then metaverse, obviously, right? So one really cool thing we're going to have is our metaverse, right? So the virtual reality studio that I built last year is sort of going to be our meeting place for all the squatter nights. So, and based on spatial technology, we can fit 50 people at once, right? So that's going to be sort of like a 24/7 revolving door open access to everyone who is a member of the squatter nights. And so everyone and anyone can just be in there at any given moment, playing each other music,
Right.
sharing, talking to each other, building relationship with each other, getting to know each other. That's what I love about spatial. And so that's going to sort of be like a virtual reality past the aux session that never ends, which is pretty
Yeah.
cool.
That
So
is
that's
really
going to be
cool.
an interesting experiment. And llmind is going to be popping in there every once in a while, you know what I mean, to surprise
Yeah.
people. I might pop in there with some other friends too. So that's on the metaverse side of things. That's what we're doing. And then Discord, we have two amazing moderators in there. I'm in there every day, and we're keeping it pretty tight knit in the Discord. Like, we're going to have gated rooms for all of our squad members. That's going to make it really easy for them to be able to network with each other. So everyone's going to choose their roles in Discord. And so let's say I'm a rapper and I'm looking for beats. All I have to do is click on, Nights of Rhythm, Nights of Melody, and I can access all of the different nights
Hmm.
that produce music. And from there, I can just start talking, start networking, right? If I'm a graphic designer and I want to create, or if I have a song and I need some visual design, I need a album cover, I can go to the Nights of Visual and or Nights of Vision and collaborate with someone on some artwork, right? So again, all the components are going to be there. It's all going to be on Discord. So that's kind
Sick.
of how I see the community stuff happening. So Discord, Twitter, which is obvious, and then Metaverse.
And I can attest to that too, by the way. I know you're in the Discord yourself because I reached out through Discord and in less than 20 minutes, like you hit me up and DM'd me. And I was honestly impressed. I was like, wow, someone like
Cool.
Illmind, who's probably has a million things to do, has a family. He also has time for a lot of these like strangers online that he genuinely feels like in love with, and a connection
Yeah.
to. So I
Yeah.
can attest to that.
Yeah, dude, I'm super excited. And there's some good people in there already. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like these are the Discord community right now, like is super healthy. And like I want to, we're gonna try our best to like maintain that energy in the
Yeah.
Discord because I don't
Right.
want it to turn into, I mean, I don't want to talk down on any other Discord communities, but like I don't want it to turn into like a shill
Sure.
community. You know what I mean? So
Sure,
we'll see what
sure,
happens.
sure. So give me some context. When does the project go live? Okay. So I guess we might end up actually publishing this after the project go lives. We'll decide behind the scenes. But when does the project go live? What are the first few things that you have on the roadmap, if any?
Mhm.
And walk me more through that.
Yeah. So the whitelist minting happens March 28th, public mint March 29th, and then the reveal March 30th, right? So we have about 30 days from the time of this conversation. And the first thing on the roadmap, honestly, Q1, or I'm sorry, the stage one
Hmm.
of the roadmap is all community building, right? So I know that sounds cliche, but I
Part of
blame
it.
all the
It's part
blame
of
all
it.
the yeah. Blame all the fucking all the rug pulls for using that word. But first order of business is squad members getting to know each other in the Discord. We're going to host our first in real life kind of kickoff networking event, probably in Los Angeles. There's some exclusive news right there. In Los Angeles, probably in either April or May.
Sick.
So yeah, so about 30 days after Mint, we're gonna have our first in real life, really big in real life event happening. And from there, we're gonna open up the metaverses. Everyone's gonna get all our whitelisters are gonna get airdropped a VIP pass to be able to access our metaverse, 24/7 metaverse I was talking about. And from there, it's really the phase one is everyone getting to know each other, starting to collaborate with each other, and then starting to form groups, right? So one of the first tasks in the beginning of the roadmap is to find squad members that you can collaborate with and create a group, right? So in one group, you want to have, a producer, musician, you want to have a rapper or a singer, you want to have an audio engineer, you want to have a visual designer, and you want to have an ambassador,
Got
right?
it.
So I'm gonna reward our Knights members for creating squads. We're gonna call these groups squads, right? So first order of business: create your squad, get
Sick.
to know each other, and then from there, the real fun begins, right? We're gonna do a series of gamified experiences to allow for Knights members to earn Knight tokens, and then we're gonna start opening up studio sessions where members could redeem their Knight tokens to book studio time. We're gonna give studio time. It's all gonna be for free, so we're never gonna ask Knight members to pay any money to do any of this shit. I mean, the only money you're going to have to spend is like travel and lodging,
Yeah.
depending on that. But in terms of studio time and events, it's all going to be free. We're going to have, we're going to launch our merch. And yeah, it's just going to be fun times, man. It's going to be a lot of cool things we're going to do.
I'm excited for you. I'm curious, like, I feel like I'm gonna end up buying one of these things just because I'm a drummer and I want to be in that environment.
Oh, dude. Well,
You
I got
know,
you on the wait list, so you're good
let's
to go.
go. My question is like, do you imagine a world where you'll actually have a disproportionate amount of producers to visual designers to beat makers, like all in the community? Like, and if that happens, is that a problem? Does that
Yeah,
like interfere with the vision, or how do you think about that?
I, I think it's kind of like the fish tank behind me, right? It's
Okay.
like we know the fish are there. We're not really in control of how many of one type of fish. I think you kind of have to let the people sort of decide that, right? I know we're going to attract a lot of music producers. We're going to attract a lot of rappers, a lot of singers, and I think naturally, we kind of let it happen organically. So I think that's just one thing that we kind of cross that bridge when we get there, right? Like
Cool.
if we end up with 1,000 rappers and 1,000 producers, but we have 100 graphic designers, then we utilize those 100 to do what we have to do. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? So
Yeah.
it's very much, and I like that. I don't want it to be like robotic, like, okay,
Yeah.
100 of this type of person, 100, and because then it doesn't feel human, right? Like the whole idea of this is to feel energizing and human
Yeah.
and exciting and weird, and I don't know who I'm going to collaborate with, and I don't know if they're going to like my beats, but I don't give a
Right.
shit. It's
Right.
like this is how it is, and this is what it's like to be a musician, right? I mean, Adam, you're a drummer. Like you you can't predict everything.
Yeah.
Like it's not what
Music
this
is a
is
very
about.
feel thing. It's a very in the moment. When you're trading fours in a jazz band, it's like you're trading fours based off feel. Like that's all it is. You're
Dude,
you're echoing what the guitarist plays to what the bass player plays. Like it's all in the moment. I feel you. I hear you.
yeah, that's the perfect analogy, dude. Like, I might be a great producer, but like I might not be the best producer for a specific person,
Right.
right? Like I might go in there and I got my squad of night pass and I'm good to go. And I'm starting to network with people. I get in the studio and I end up not really hitting it off with them. And that's okay. That happens to all of us. But that's something that you've never experienced before,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Had you not, so again, like those are the types of things that you want to experience. And I'm excited to see this community grow. And I'm betting that there will be, a cool little handful of success stories that come out of this over time. And I'm just happy to be, the guy in the background to
Yeah.
help these people make it happen. Like I tell people all the time when I do my events, I'm like, this is not about me. Like you didn't come here to meet me. Like you did, but that's not what that you're gonna walk away understanding that it's not about meeting llmind.
Right.
Like the fire, I tell people the fire is inside of you and it's been inside of you. My job is to just fan the flame. My job
Yeah.
is to just spark
Add more
whatever's
fuel. Yeah.
already. Yeah, my
Yeah.
job is to just spark whatever's ready inside of you. Like
Yeah.
I'm your guide. But you're the hero, right? You
Yeah.
guys are the hero. Like so
I
that's
love
what
it.
I'm really excited to see.
I
Yeah.
love it. You know what's cool? Tying back our beginning of the conversation to what you're doing now with Squad of Nights is you start off dropping sample packs. Now I'm thinking you put all these heads in the same room, producing, creating stuff together. There could also be a scenario where they create their own sample pack, and then you use like a splits protocol where when they sell the NFT, they all collectively earn from that. and it's all because it was a curated environment, right? And like the optionality is endless. As long as you get the right people in the right room and the right creative energy synergizing with one another, that's it. You're taking off. So
Exactly.
I love
Dude,
it.
Adam, you're taking the words right out of my mouth. And also check this out. And I don't want to speak too soon, but I'm giving
Yeah.
Adam all the exclusives right now.
Let's go.
A percentage, it's inevitable that we're gonna have a percentage of people that are gonna buy and flip, right? We can't avoid that. And people are free to do what they want. Like, I'm not expecting every single person to like purchase a Squad of Night NFT and like hodl forever and like collaborate with everyone. We welcome everyone to purchase a Squad of Night NFT. But here's the cool thing, Adam. A percentage of the initial sale and the secondary sale is going to go right back to the Knights to basically fund the entire operation. So all the studio time that we're going to spend money on, all the curated events and all the get-togethers and whatever else we implement for the empowerment of the community of the Squad of Knights, we're all going to be funded, right? And we're also going to leave it up to them too. So I don't want to say like I don't want to put it out there and say we're going to make it into a DAO necessarily, but it is going to feel very DAO-like in terms of, hey guys, what can we do? What do you guys want? In addition to what we're doing,
Right.
What do you guys want to see happen? And how can we see that happen? So all the flippers on the secondary are essentially funding, our operation.
The growth.
Right?
Amazing.
The growth of the people that really want to be there.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, hey, we welcome you. If you want to like buy in,
flip away.
Flip away.
Yeah.
You flipping means you get what you want.
Yeah.
And the people that are here that want to partake, we get to help them by doing that. So thank you for your contribution.
Yeah.
I
I love it, dude. Look, I'm excited for you. I'm excited for the project. I'll be definitely tuning in. Before I let you go and we wrap this up, where can we find you? Where can we find more of the project? Give us the takeaway.
So you can find me on every social media. It's at llmind producer, one word. That's ILLMIND producer. And that's, Twitter, Instagram, all the social media. And then Squad of Knights. So it's Knights with a K. So squadofknights.com. That's our main website. Twitter at Squad of Knights. And I'm sure over time, if you Google Squad of Knights, you'll find our Twitter, our website, and all that good stuff. So yeah, follow me, llmind producer. Follow Squad of Knights. If you want to get into the Discord, all the links are on the website. The website should be live at the time of you watching this. So go to Squad of Knights right now. It's going down. Get on that whitelist. Get on the Discord. If you're a musician, if you're a beat maker, a rapper, a singer, a visual designer, an aspiring, forward thinker in music and Web3, and just want to be part of a community where you can actually build something cool and creative, I think the Squad of Knights is a great place to start. So look into it, and we'll be here, man. We'll be here crushing it. So
amazing, bro. Amazing. Yeah. Thank you for being on. We'll have to do this again soon.
No, Adam, my boy, let me know anytime.
You got it. What's up, guys? If you've gotten this far, then I owe you a listener badge NFT. Go to adamlevy.io/POAP, that's POAP, and click the respective season. Fill out your info and I'll distribute the free to mint NFT at the end of the season. Also, please make sure to rate and subscribe to the podcast. You won't believe it, but it helps me out a ton. And finally, hit me up on Twitter @LevyChain. I want to hear what you're building, the latest crowdfund you're trying to complete, or if you just simply want to chat. If you couldn't tell already, I love talking about where crypto meets the creator economy, and it's no different if it's coming from you directly. Thank you so much for your support. It means the world, and we'll catch you on the next episode.